Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode, I believe, 7. Probably the most excited I've been
Seven?
for an episode ever of the Mousetrap podcast. I'm Carter Thweet, joined by Isaac Hardy. Isaac, how you doing?
Yeah, good to be here. I can't believe it's seven. Time flies, man.
Time flies. You told me you're struggling a little bit because you're fresh off of hooping, so we'll forgive if you're a little out of it for this one,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
should still be all right.
All right, let's look at our agenda here today.
Yeah, so much to talk about. This is not the off season where we're stretching, trying to find stuff to talk about.
Yeah.
It's stacked. We're gonna talk about Dynasty first because all of you are in that league, and then we will get to Belichuzz at the end, which I'm very excited for. And we have less than 40 minutes, so let's just get right into it. Isaac, anything before we start?
No, let's dive right into our week one recap.
Awesome. So scores, I'm gonna try and move us so we're not covering this up. Sleeper will I you never really notice because you're able to scroll through, but like you can only see three players at a time when you're looking at a sleeper matchup. So there was no way to get good pictures. I've got the scores here, and if you're not like driving watching this, you can pull it up on your phone and look. But we kind of just wanted to go through the scores from week one, starting with a game where many counted me out, namely my co-host, but I was able to get the win.
Yeah, that was actually really disappointing. I thought that was going to be so funny. Both of y'all not getting the outcome you want. And then I see the text, some sort of response to my text. And I was like, oh my goodness, of course. Pulled it out. Derrick Henry has the game of his life. It's wild.
Yeah, Henry carried me. Only thing I'll say, just real quick, I really didn't realize he was tanking. I know his team's young, but I feel like Grant could do a little better job if he is truly tanking. Like he still has his best players in, and if I look
Well,
at his
remember,
roster here, he's
remember
traded
we're doing
away some
max.
picks. I know for Caleb Williams. So it's like, can I call it rebuilding? I just tank. I mean, I see what you're doing in our other dynasty league. That's tanking. I don't know about
Yeah.
this one.
Yeah, I guess maybe I didn't dive too much. It's just he's got all those young players, and with the max PF system, it makes sense to at least give it your best go, every year. And because he's got all those young players, I guess I would say this: I don't think Grant expects to win this year, and I don't think he'd mind getting a really good first round pick.
Yeah, like I said, rebuilding, and I kind of did forget about our max PF tanking system.
Yeah,
So yeah, win for
yeah,
me.
which I really like.
Yeah,
Like I
for
thought I
sure.
was going to be tanking this year, and then I come out here and get a dub. JJ McCarthy. I guess we can move on to the next game. That's all right. Or do you want to say more about your game?
No, I think we covered mine. Expected outcome, though it was a little dicey. This next one, your game was probably America's game of the week. This was a
It was
barn
hype.
burner.
Yeah, it's crazy. Two high scores in the league so far. These are two highest point totals, and TJ loses, which is really tough. I was especially proud because he sent that text about how he was, guaranteed to win in all of his sleeper leagues that week or whatever. But yeah, I was down. It looked like I was out. Third quarter of the Vikings game, ship has sailed, and then JJ McCarthy has the quarter of his life, carries me to the victory. That was really exciting for me to watch.
Yeah, McCarthy Magic. Feel bad for TJ. I always hate when the second guy plays the first guy, but a
Yeah,
lot of
that's tough.
guys that I wouldn't expect to go off did well for you. Javante Williams, Tyler Warren
hmm
in his first ever NFL game. Obviously, JJ McCarthy.
Tyler Warren looking like a stud.
He
He's looking
looks like
like
a
a
stud.
stud, especially in tight
A
end
lot of
premium.
20-point performances from unsuspecting guys. Not much TJ could have done. He could have got a few more points if he'd put in like a
Yeah,
Shakir for,
yeah.
Travis Hunter or Tua. Tua really sold him, but not much he
Yeah.
could have done.
Let's look at our next one, our Austin versus Nixon matchup here.
Yes, I'm not sure what order I put these in because it is not the order that they are on Sleeper.
It's
But
it,
Mr.
it'd be different for you because you'd be on, or I guess maybe I don't know.
Uh,
Um,
team named after a backup quarterback getting a
I
win.
love
That
it.
is some
I
special
love it.
stuff.
It's so much better than Pikachu. I choose you.
The name's grown on me, as you know. He has Josh Allen. He has
Yeah,
Josh
that,
Allen.
that's all that needs to be said. But I'm
Yeah.
looking at Golden though, the Packers wide receiver, only getting two targets. This could be an
Yeah,
interesting
there's
storyline.
some. We'll talk about this more. We have power rankings coming up, as you saw on the agenda. There's some holes in this team for sure. But a lot of the super flex quarterbacks kind of sell in this week. Definitely the case for Austin and CJ Stroud.
Yeah, yeah, that's really tough. Next one, T Crom versus Gooning. Man, that tough outlook for Gooning. We'll talk more about them when we get to the power rankings, but could he grab into unction and not even be our lowest score in week one? That's a tough look. He might have to start rethinking his team's future there.
Yeah, we pointed to him as a possible contender because he had all the old guys. Now Kittle's out. I guess that's kind of what you expect when you have a lot of
Yeah,
old guys. Just an awful performance. Not even much the bench could have done. Only one double-digit scorer. Got to show
yeah,
some love to Tucker. Not a crazy performance, but obviously has to like what he saw from Justin Herbert.
for sure.
Little weak at running back. Kenneth Walker, kind of scary. Charbonnet was
Yeah, Charbonnet got more touches.
maybe kind of being the guy, but solid performance from Tucker. I think he's in a good spot.
Yeah, and then our Drake versus Evan. Honestly, Evan did a lot better than I thought he would. And again, we'll talk more about his team during the power rankings. Considering I would say he has the worst roster currently. Just that the Kinshon Judkins suspension or not signing his contract, or whatever the heck's going on there, is really kind of shafted his team a little bit.
Yeah, as it
But
is
yeah, I mean,
now, the running back situation just hurts. Austin Eckler
is
and
painful.
like the
Yeah,
Jags. I think Tootin might be below LaQuint Allen, your guy. So
no, I'm a big
that's
LeQuint
rough.
fan.
Xavier Worthy. It's honestly amazing he hit 100 points. Like we got to show him some
Yeah.
props.
I will say team building with a tight end first round. I mean, I understand that Brock Bowers is elite, but trying to build that out where it's like you grab a tight end first, it's like, well, now you have holes at running back and wide receiver. How do you fill them? He went with wide receiver, or yeah, so wide receiver. So
Yeah, and
we'll see how things shake out. But
you especially notice it when like Drake has Trey McBride, who's almost as good, and the roster just looks so much more full. Gino
right,
played well. He could be a good super flex QB for Drake this year.
yeah, I am a little worried about Drake May though. His stats are good there because of his rushing stuff, but or a little bit because of his rushing stuff. I don't think the offense looked very good. The Raiders' defense isn't elite, and they didn't do anything. So I'm curious to see how Drake May is out in the future.
Yeah, I
Um,
think Gino could be the best quarterback on this team.
yeah. So let's just talk about the last one here. Honestly, kind of a shocker here. That Logan scored so few because I had him, if you remember, after the draft as my number one contender. I still really, really like his roster, but just kind of a number of guys underperforming here in the first week. But he pulled out the win, and that's what matters in the end. Tough break for Charlie. Felt like that was one he could have got, but um,
Yeah, I think we'll talk about this more in power rankings. Logan's bench is insane, so I think he's new to football, like we say, with some better choices. He could have put up way more because Mandrews put up 2 points, and that's without Isaiah Likely. But then he has three tight ends on his bench, two of
yeah,
whom scored
a lot of
double
time.
digits. So I think
Right.
Logan's going to be just fine.
I will say Charlie having Justin Fields, I love that. I think Justin Fields is going to be a fantasy monster this year with that rushing attack they're trying to do out there in New York.
Yeah, and he's going to need him because Purdy now is out for at
Yeah,
least a
Purdy
couple
out,
weeks. Like
and I
so,
don't trust Sam Darnold either. But
yeah.
let's move on. What's next? Our power rankings. Yeah.
Power rankings. I just decided to put a fun football picture. Might keep doing this. If you guys have any fun pictures you want to see in this, let me know. So obviously a classic moment here, and somehow your
We
power
need
rankings took up less space than mine. I'm not quite sure how you managed that. Smaller
felt
font,
different.
yes.
We need one of those pictures from Austin's story after talking about his interception streak continue. That's an iconic football picture, in my opinion.
Yeah, legendary for sure. Something. Who is this guy? Rodney Harrison. Yeah, he could never dream of pulling off such a feat.
The four game
I don't.
interception streak, but
Yeah, I don't know how you want to go through this. What I instantly noticed, the furthest apart we are on anybody, it's not a huge difference, but Tucker, you have him at 3, I have him at 7. Was kind of interested to talk that out a little bit.
yeah, for sure. We'll start there, and then I think we could maybe just work bottom up. Just say a little bit about everyone.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So my thing with Tucker is, dynasty leagues. I think wide receiver. Okay, I guess maybe here's a caveat. So I tried to mostly think about who's going to win this year, but I also was thinking, who's in the best position, right? So that factored in a little bit just because it's hard to see with week one. So I really like his wide receiver, CD, Neighbors, Mike Evans. I think that's just an elite trio there. Hawkinson at the tight end is a solid starting option. I think his quarterback is really solid. Herbert and Baker are guys that are going to be putting up 19, 20, 23 points every week. So I think all of that's really well rounded out. If you look at the running back position, it is a little questionable. But there's been so much hype about Travion Henderson as this like pass catcher guy in the backfield. I think they'll start utilizing him more as we move forward. So I think that spot's going to fill out. And then I'm like, well, that means he's one move away from maybe having the best roster. I think the only weakness he has is his second running back after Henderson. So that's why I just see only one weakness and strengths across the board.
Yeah, that's fair. I think again, I think like it wasn't an insane winning performance. The Kenneth Walker thing does scare me, like we talked about.
Mm,
I also have
yep.
Ramondre, so I'm just holding on to that hope that Travion will take a little while, but I don't think that's the case at all.
Yeah.
But yeah, it wasn't a crazy performance. The running back situation does scare me. I also don't know if Justin Herbert is going to play that well every week.
True.
But he's 1-0. I still have him at number 7, which is pretty good. He could easily move up.
Yeah. Again, I think I'll remember this for a long time, but I remember Tucker built drafting his team first 3 rounds. I thought he was loaded. He had Malik, he had CD, and then or maybe the first 2 rounds, and then that round three he grabs Justin Herbert instead of like Omari and Hampton. You start looking at this team if he's got Omari and Hampton instead of Kenneth Walker and some other replacement level quarterback. I think we're looking at something truly terrifying for now and in the future. But
Yeah.
we'll see. We'll see.
Starting with the bottom, we both have the same last place team. Hooray.
Yeah. So I think Evan's just catching some bad breaks with the Judkins thing. He, spent a lot of draft capital on him. But he's got some guys. Keon Coleman, I think, is actually looking like a wide receiver one for the Bills. Judkins eventually in the future. I really like Jackson Dart, maybe not this year, but moving forward. So I think I think he's going to beat everyone out, the 101. I don't think there's really any doubt in my mind that he's going to be the first overall pick, but I don't hate his team. Patrick Mahomes is going to carry value. Garrett Wilson, Xavier Worthy, Brock Bowers, Romo Dunze. He's got some cornerstones. Someone's got to be the worst. Someone's got to get the first pick. And so there's no hate there.
Yeah, I guess this is a good time to talk for me briefly about my power rankings. I'm mostly thinking of this year. If I need a tiebreaker, I might do situation, but for me, a
Okay.
power rankings, I think more current. Worst running back situation in the league by far. Xavier
Certainly.
Worthy is out. He could replace him with Keon Coleman, but it just, yeah, that I don't see him winning many games this year.
Yeah.
Enough said
Yeah.
about that.
Evan, just a little advice if you're listening. You probably want to sell anyone on your team over the age of 27 who puts up any fantasy points for as many picks as you can get. It's like an Eckler, maybe. Um, I guess that's it. But just
I
something to
actually
consider
texted
trying to
Evan
sell some
today
of those
asking,
players.
I texted Evan asking if he, quote, wants a running back who plays football, and he has not responded to me yet. So something to keep in mind.
I think it's their 1 month anniversary, so he's probably busy.
Oh, I did see a related Instagram story. Good comms,
Yeah.
good comms.
Okay. So tell me about Tyler. I don't have Tyler much higher than you, but I've got him a couple slots up.
Yeah, so looking at Chitty here, and let me pull up his team. He's last in the league, obviously had the 82-point performance. Um, this one was one where I guess I kind of strayed a bit from my current rule. It's just not a situation that I would want to be in. Like I said, put up the least points in the league. Tight end situation is not great, especially with Kittle hurt if you want to take the current angle. Receivers didn't do a whole lot. I assume AJ Brown's going to improve a bit, but he's got the oldest team in the league. It's not a great situation. He put up the least points in the league. If I'm thinking current, this is an easy 11 slot for me.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and talk about Chitty. Maybe we can just kind of do it that way. I've got him at the number 9, and I agree. I think he's got a win now roster that's putting up lose now points, and that's just a horrible situation to be in. I think he got a great haul for Derrick Henry. Obviously he did great for you this week, but that definitely just leaves that kind of gaping hole in his lineup of like before he had the best running back tandems, Henry and Saquon. Now he doesn't. So if I would hit, I might consider who are these guys that are on the precipice? A Drake or a TJ or a Tucker that are like maybe one or two guys away from making it to the top and seeing if he can't, sell. And then maybe he's in the best position with a bunch of picks, and just to kind of rebuild his team. But I don't know if Chitty's dedicated enough to really do anything
Yeah.
beyond just set his lineup every
I
week.
was
So we'll see.
surprised when he did the Henry trade, not because it was bad, like it was objectively good value, but he had this win now team. And then, yeah, I think he does need to commit to one side or the other. Don't know if he
Yeah.
will.
Yeah. Okay.
Um,
Let's talk about Austin real quick. I've got
yeah,
him
I'd,
next
I'd
up.
like to. Yeah.
So let me just pull up Bro's
Yeah.
team.
I mean,
Our
I'll go ahead and
team.
say so I'm at 9, not much higher, but I think of the losing teams, he does have a pretty good outlook. I think Lamar is going to win you some games. I really like his running backs in a league that's weak with running backs. Um,
Mhm.
just, looking at next week, I was already looking, and James Conner plays Carolina. I love that.
Yeah.
And then T. Higgins, the Bengals always kind of start slow, but I feel like T. Higgins is going to pick it up. He had two 20-point receivers on his bench. So I just feel like of the losing teams, I wouldn't be surprised if he gets a win next week. I think he's got a really solid roster.
Yeah, I don't hate his roster. I don't like Okonkwo at the tight end position. I think that's a weakness, especially in a tight end premium league. CJ Stroud has been bad for about a year and a half now, which is certainly concerning, especially considering he grabbed him his second pick, I believe. If you remember, he did the Lamar, CJ, Cam Ward at the top. Um, yeah, I mean, just James Conner, Alvin Kamara, some of these older running backs, it's just like a hammy, a little ankle thing, missing 4 games here could really reset his team and a team that's just going to get worse year by year. So that's what I'm concerned about. Maybe it's just some of those injury concerns, like at Devontae. Is he going to be healthy all 17 games?
Yeah, for sure. I see the concerns. I think he's got a good roster. Higher chance of injury than most. I agree with you.
Yeah. All right, so let's take a look here at Grant, Mr. Grimace for Skibbity Toilet, one of my favorite
Classic.
names in the league.
We have him in the
Um,
same spot. Not a lot of debate. A rebuilding, if not tanking team. Got a bright future. Don't think he's going to be winning a lot of games this year.
yeah, the thing that actually really concerns me with this team is his quarterback situation. Bryce Young, I get it. He had like quarter of good football at the end of the season last year. But other than that, he's looked bad. He looked bad on Sunday. Yeah, he'll probably be the starter this year, but you wonder in a strong quarterback draft class, if they do bad, they get a high pick. Do they say, hey, we're done on the Bryce Young experiment? And then he's gone. And even Caleb Williams is getting some talk of like, can he run Ben Johnson's system? Is he going to be here to stay? Or are they going to try and move off him? So I would just be a little bit worried. I like his other positions with the youth and kind of the potential there, but I'd be worried. Is he going to be out these two quarterbacks in a year or two? And are they going to be able to perform throughout the season? Especially looking at Bryce Young. He might be a guy that ends up getting like a projected down to like 12, 13 if the Panthers can't really turn this around.
Yeah, he already told me he regretted trading Michael Penix and picks for Caleb Williams. I'd have to
Yeah,
agree. I think Caleb Williams could
that's
turn it
really tough.
around, but the picks are a bad look at this point.
Yeah, that's really tough.
Yeah, he's got some work to do, but I think he's willing to do it.
Yeah. So next up for both of us is Char, where we both have him at 8.
Yeah, almost beat a team that we both have ranked highly. Just a lot to like. I really don't know how he only scored 96. I guess Sam Darnold, these super flex quarterbacks really get you, but he has Justin Jefferson, Lad McConkey, Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan Taylor does scare me a little bit just because the Colts use him so much. He could get banged up so easily, and
Yeah, he's always banged up.
he's not going to be playing the Dolphins every week. But we liked this roster when he drafted it. I still think it's a pretty stacked roster. And like you said, I think he can slot Justin Fields in for Sam Darnold and feel a lot better about things.
Yeah. I like Fields. Losing Purdy, though, really hurts. Injury concern with JT, Jonathan Taylor, of course, is worrisome. And, that run heavy offense in the Jets probably is not going to put up whatever, 34 points or whatever they put up every week. So I'd be a little concerned there if they fall behind. They abandon the run game. Maybe Brees Hall doesn't put up those points. And then Njoku as well. I don't hate it, but with Harold Fannin, the other Browns tight end, kind of getting some value and getting a lot of target share, I could be worried about David Njoku dropping to kind of a replacement level tight end and that being a gaping hole in his roster. So I don't like you said, I don't hate it. I think he might just catch a couple of bad breaks with this quarterback situation. And if he starts, if he's 0-2, 0-3, it might be time to um, just pivot, for the season. But we'll see how he shakes out. Eight's not bad. He almost got a win there in week 1.
Yeah, Mr. Harold Fannin, king of the waiver wire this week
Mhm.
in like redraft leagues, not in this.
Yeah. So we
Um,
did Tucker, so let's do Nixon.
yeah, Nixon. We're a little different on Nixon here. Let me pull up his roster. Mr. Show Me What You Got. Always has a good team name. Any I know we already talked about Matthew Golden. That is a weakness. Any thoughts on this guy?
Yeah, just the wide receiver. I mean, the running backs I think are elite. Achane and Kyron. It's really good. And Josh Allen at quarterback. I mean, that's just amazing. Bo Nix looked kind of bad. That is a little worrisome moving forward, especially because it looks like his only backup quarterback is Tyler Shough, who currently doesn't play football. So
And is currently on the taxi
Jacob
squad as well. He's on the taxi.
right. Jacoby Myers is wide receiver 1 in Las Vegas, so there's some hope there. But Golden looked like uh, like he's not the guy this year at least. So we'll see how that shakes out. I'm not a huge fan of really anyone on his bench. I mean, maybe Jordan Addison can get that touchdown volume up whenever he comes back from his suspension, but um, I don't know. I'm just worried about that wide receiver position. It's so valuable in fantasy nowadays, and just how weak that is for him is it could hold him back this year, I think. because Josh
Yeah.
Allen isn't going to turn into Jesus Christ himself every Sunday. So,
Counterpoint, Josh Allen might turn into Jesus Christ himself every Sunday. Like I said, my rankings are very current. I had the top five are all teams that got a win. So
hmm
he got a win. I was going to put him pretty highly. I love Josh Allen. I love the running backs. I like Shaheed. I know the Saints situation is terrible at quarterback, but he was
hmm
balling out last year before he got hurt. I think he can be decent. He has Jordan Addison coming back. So he's 1-0. I think he's got some good things. I think this team lives or dies on Bo Nix, and I'll be interested to see how he plays.
hmm Yeah, I would agree. Phoenix is a huge pivot piece for him.
Yeah. This is where our rankings kind of get skewy a little bit. We could do you,
Murky.
we could do TJ.
Let's do TJ and then we'll do me.
Okay. Yeah, we both
So
I have you a little higher. TJ, we're both kind of pretty consistent on.
yeah, so TJ again just catching a really bad break. Second highest points. He had to go up against me who put up the most. I'm a big fan of TJ's team kind of going down. My only issues is at that second quarterback position. And then, like, do you believe Kyle Pitts is going to be anything? Travis Hunter. But I think that, Jameer and Chase Brown, elite wide receiver or running back duo. Puka, of course, is great at wide receiver. Jordan Love is looking like he's going to be really solid. But I'm just concerned about some of those, that flex position, that quarterback, too. Tua just looks so bad. Dolphins look so bad. He's got Matthew Stafford, but again, he's not the old Matthew Stafford. He's solid, but he's not elite. So I'm just a little worried about those kind of end of the starting lineup positions there for him.
Yeah, if I had to name one concern that you didn't name, I mean, obviously Tua is a huge one. Like, I know I sound like a broken record, but it's like every team's Superflex QB is just bad. It's kind of crazy.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know. I'm a little slightly worried. I know he'll be fine, but I'm wondering if Jahmyr Gibbs is going to live up to his first round draft slot just because the Lions looked really bad. Ben Johnson's gone. David Montgomery is still there. He had 10 catches for 31 yards, which should
Right.
be illegal. And it's like, is he going to do that every week? Like 3 yards a catch, 10 catches. He had 9 carries for 19 yards, and they looked really bad. Is he going to be the RB1 that he needs? Chase Brown also didn't put up good numbers, but that whole Bengals
Right.
offense was just awful.
He did get 21 carries, so that's a really good sign
Yes.
for Chase
Yeah,
Brown. My thing with
I'm sure
Jameer,
Chase Brown's gonna be fine.
I don't know if you watched that game against the Packers, but they were feeding bro the rock. Like it was insane. So I believe in that, like a
Yeah.
CMC level volume, even if he doesn't quite have that talent, where he may not get 10 catches or 10 targets, but I could see him being in the 6 to 8 range every week, screens, slump offs, trying to just get anything going for him
Yeah.
on the outside. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's kind of a PPR monster, just because of those receptions.
And I'm sure he won't rush for 19 yards every week.
Right, right. Yeah, the Packers just they're really good. They're really good.
Your team, I could not put the highest scoring team in the league any lower than three. That's just like a rule I invented for myself. I Javonte Williams is like the guy. It's clear. I think he can get a touchdown most weeks. Charbonnet looks really good. Like just every guy on your roster overperformed with the exception of Pickens. Your bench is a little weak, but you scored the most points in the league. You had a lot of really interestingly good performances. Would
hmm
like to see you maybe get a backup quarterback if McCarthy's not that good every week, but you scored the most. Your guys balled out.
Yeah, well, I was kind of planning on not doing well this year. I drafted every player on my roster except for Matthew Stafford. Whenever I drafted was 25 or younger, and I traded Matthew Stafford to TJ for a second, thinking I don't need a backup quarterback. I'm planning to lose. And then I come out and win week one, put up those points, and I'm like, well, Max PF, might as well try to win. So, I'll see how I looked after 3 weeks. Maybe, Marvin Harrison goes back to last year's Marvin Harrison, doesn't do well, or maybe Tyler Warren doesn't always get 9 targets or something like that. But, I might be a week 3, week 4 buyer where I'm like, hey, I can actually do it this year. Let's see what I can shake out. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes forward. Um, yeah, proud of my team. Really impressed.
Yeah, no, it was quite a performance. I don't think most would have had you beating TJ going in.
Mhm.
I guess next we have Logan and Drake 1-4 and 1-4. So which do you want to
Let's
talk
do you
about?
first. Then we can make
All
our
right.
cases for why each one's the best.
I like that. I did not score the second most points. I scored the fourth most. Um, I still have Christian McCaffrey and Derrick Henry. And I have a lot of guys that you have to think are going to get better. I know I'm being optimistic, but like surely Jamar is going to get better. Maybe
Hmm.
Penix is my guy now. ETN
Hmm.
looked incredible, and they just traded Tank Bigsby off my bench. So I feel
Yep.
very good about where my team's at. We got the win. Have the probably the best running back situation in the league as long as CMC stays healthy.
Right. That's a big thing, the health there. Tyreek Hill looked bad again. Dolphins look bad. And, he's the type of guy to get himself moved to another roster, so it could be kind of a second half of the season stud. Your quarterback situation is one that really concerns me. I have no faith in Trevor Lawrence. They played the Panthers and he put up 11 points. Jared Goff looked really rough without Ben Johnson. So that's just where I'd be a little concerned. Like if you're getting 14, 15 points out of your quarterback slots, that's really gonna hurt moving forward. But yeah, I think that running back duo is just insane. Having Jamar and Drake London there as well as just really elite Laporta dog. So
Yeah, I that could be a potential trade target is quarterback if this season goes according to plan, but we'll see what happens.
yeah. So pitch me Drake. Why is Drizzy number one in the league?
Why is Drizzy number one? You're making me go first, so you have time to build your case. I see how it is. Looking at Drake's roster here, like I said, I just feel, in a tight end premium league, he has McBride, who I really like, and I feel like he built around him so well. Like Bijan is, I guess this is kind of the Jahmyr Gibbs thing. I'm kind of being hypocritical where he had a bunch of catches and rushed really bad. But we know Bijan's going to put up numbers. He's going to be involved. I really like James Cook with the big contract he just got. He looked really good. I've always liked Devontae Smith. I think he's going to get better. I think Geno has looked pretty good, although Drake could use another quarterback. I love the fact that he has Hollywood Brown off the bench now that Xavier Worthy's hurt. I could keep naming guys, but ultimately, I just feel like he has built this team really, really well. A little worried at quarterback, but the skill positions are elite. He won. He put up a lot of points. He's also very competent with football. So I just trust this team to go deep into the playoffs.
Um, I guess again, I had him at four, not down to the depth. So I really like his squad. His wide receiver depth is one that really concerns me, and Aaron Jones also. I just watching that Vikings game last night. Aaron Jones caught like a I don't know 25-yard touchdown reception that accounted for probably half the points he got there, and I just don't know if that's going to happen every game. Jordan Mason looked really good, so Aaron Jones could get a lot less carries. I mean, he only got 8 there, so if he doesn't get that receiving touchdown, his points are a lot worse. And then Devontae Smith, you said you're high on him. I'm kind of low on Eagles wide receivers. They lost their offensive coordinator. He got a head coaching job. And just watching that game against the Cowboys team that really had no pass rush without Micah, they still stayed run heavy. A lot of Dallas Goedert, a lot of Jalen Hurts taking off, and just kind of makes me concerned. Like, are they going to be almost like a better version of the Jets? Let's just run the football. Saquon, Shipley, AJ Dillon, Jalen Hurts. Let's run it. Let's play defense. Let's do that. So I'm just a little concerned. Devontae Smith, he's always been the guy who's like either he booms or he busts, and that makes me nervous. And then DJ Moore as well. Sorry, I'll just keep going here. Just the Bears have so many weapons, and Ben Johnson's been good at utilizing them. Roman Dunze was a clear wide receiver one there, so I'm a little concerned about DJ Moore as well.
I just have to butt in. I have some bad news. We have less than 10 minutes left. We have
Um,
a lot to get through. Logan, really quick.
can
I
we
put
can
up
we splice two videos together?
maybe. Let's see what we
I don't
can
know
get
what.
through in 10
Okay,
minutes.
we could have a
I
bonus one for Belichuzz.
We could. I put Logan at 4 because he only scored 100 points. I love the roster. I just have to point out this bench real quick. Michael Pittman scored 20. Cortland Sutton had 18. Keenan Allen, who I love, had 19. Dobbins had 15. Ertz and Tucker Craft both had double digits. The bench is absolutely stacked. I feel confident he'll be moving up my rankings next week, but he only scored 100. Like I said, I'm very current biased.
Yeah, I would say. I mean, I just look at this roster, and there's one spot I don't like, and that's DeAndre Swift. And like you said, that bench is so strong, he can replace that very easily. Mark Andrews is going to bounce back. I'm not worried about that. Amon Ra, they're not going to play the Packers every week. And Chuba and Josh Jacobs, I think, is a really kind of underratedly solid running back room. Jalen Hurts is just a fantasy monster with that tush push. So, like I said, I had Logan at one at the start. I didn't see anything that made me really concerned. I think he's gonna have to play his matchups a little bit better and kind of get a better understanding of football. That might be my only worry is how this team gets managed. But I really think he has the potential to be truly at the top of the leaderboard all year.
Yeah, I think Logan's team is really good. We'll update these power rankings obviously next week. Excited to see how that shakes out. I'm thinking about it, and I don't know if I know how to splice two videos together and get that into YouTube. Maybe I do. Let's move on.
Let's let's just do a separate Belichuzz video. 'Cause this is it for Dynasty, right?
Yeah, this is it for Dynasty, I
So we
think.
could just, if they aren't Belichuzz, they don't have to watch that one, but we could have, 15-minute one on that.
I think that's a good idea. The only sad thing is we won't be able to end with the there you go. There you go. All right, we made that decision on the fly. This is the thing that's happening. Episode 8, I guess, coming out really soon.
Yeah.
Thank you
Let us
guys
know in
for
the comment
watching.
section what you think about the power rankings. Who would you have number one? Logan or Drake or someone else? Did we put your team too high, too
Oh,
low?
we didn't do game picks for next week. That's part of Dynasty.
Okay, 7 minutes. We can knock that out.
We can knock that out. Ah, spoilers. All right. Um, wow. All right. This is rapid fire. You have like less than 30 seconds to talk about your thing. Hold on. I got to
Yeah.
get to week 2, unless you're already ready to talk about this game.
Just we're both here with Carter. Well, like we both had your team. At number two in the power rankings. I like Charlie's team, but I just CMC is still healthy, and as long as that's true, I think your team's just gonna be really really tough to beat, especially with Derrick Henry. Um, I think the Ravens play the Browns. Derrick Henry's putting up 180 yards at 3 touchdowns, so I think this is gonna be a dominant performance for you.
Yeah, he also has to replace Brock Purdy, so we'll see how that goes. But I'd be sad if I didn't win this one.
Okay, let's look at our next one here. Again, we're still in tandem.
Yeah,
Um,
Grant versus Logan. Grant has said he is tanking. We both really like Logan's team. This one feels pretty obvious.
Yeah, the only thing I think is if Amar and Hampton and Genty can maybe show the potential they had, maybe they have some really elite week twos. But yeah, I think Logan's got this one on lock. Here
We're
we differ.
different on Austin versus TJ here, and let me go to this matchup. Austin slightly projected to win right now. Why do you have TJ?
Yeah, I just think some of these guys are going to bounce back. I think Tua plays New England, maybe not quite as tough. There's the Colts, Jahmyr Gibbs versus Chicago. I think he's going to do a lot. I just kind of look at Austin's team. I'm not sure Lamar is going to do as much as he did just because it's the Browns. He might be just handing it off in the whole second half. Um, I think this is going to be maybe our best matchup of the week, a really close matchup. But I just like some of the matchups that TJ has with his guys over the ones Austin has.
Yeah, I like I said, I am high on James Conner against the Panthers. That defense looked terrible. I'm like
Mm,
really optimistic in ETN as a running back one, and I don't know if he actually is, but I really like that matchup. Lamar, I'm actually not as confident as you that Cleveland's a pushover. Like they still have Miles Garrett and they looked really good against Cincinnati, but I really like Austin's team. I both these teams maybe shouldn't be 0-1. Like they both have good rosters,
mm,
but I like that James Conner matchup. I like Austin's running back tandem a lot. Like I said, Jahmyr Gibbs, I'm still a little still a little on the Lions.
yeah.
We'll see, but I've got Austin.
Okay. Let's look at the next one. Again, Evan's team, just
A disaster.
a bit of a pushover. Hopefully, your star player's bye coincides with the week you play Evan. No hate, Evan. Again, there's a direction, there's value in getting the first overall pick, but yeah, I think Tyler's just going to dog walk here.
Yep. This next game we saved. If you're wondering, it's out of order on Sleeper. I saved what I have as America's Game of the Week for last. Unfortunately, that is not you versus Will. But right now, the win percentage is at 50-50, and you picked against yourself. That's interesting.
Yeah, the Giants D line I think is insane with Leonard Williams and Abdul Carter. I don't think Javonte Williams can get those 2 touchdowns like he did last week. And I just think my teams they overperformed. I think they're going to regress a little bit, go back to the norm. Um, so it's not so much that I think Nixon's going to do something insane. It's just I think I have um set unrealistic expectations with my squad after week one.
Yeah, I think you have some tough matchups. Like Green Bay looked really good in week 1, and Jaden Daniels didn't look particularly good. He could
Right.
struggle. Tyler Warren, Denver looked really good. I think he's going to come back down to earth, like you said. I like Josh Allen against the Jets. I mean, Aaron Rodgers just tore them up.
Yeah.
Um, and Achan versus New England for that matter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just think you could regress a little bit. Nixon has enough good matchups to put up a lot of points.
Yeah. I think that'll be another close one though.
Yeah.
And our
America's
game of the
Game
week
of the
here.
Week. Two 1-0 teams, high projections, both in the 120s. And we went different. So this game in TJ versus Austin is going to determine who wins. I think I'll keep up with our records on picks throughout the season. That's just kind of fun.
Yeah,
You
that'd be
picked
fun.
Tucker, I picked Drake.
Yeah, I mean, I disagree with you. I think the Jets defense is going to look to bounce back. I think they're supposed to be good, and they were embarrassed by the Pittsburgh situation. So I don't expect, especially a divisional matchup, it's always going to be tough. So I don't think James Cook is going to do anything crazy. I'm trusting our Vikings defense. I think, we're going to put Bijan Robinson in his place a little bit. Drake May again didn't look great. Gino might look bad against the Chargers. They kind of made Mahomes not look bad, but certainly kind of contain that Chiefs offense. So I'm just worried about some of those matchups there for Drake. Whereas Tucker, I just think has a much stronger chance. I think Travion Henderson against Miami. I think this could be the game where he kind of puts his stamp on the football scene. So
Some
that's
would
just
say
some of my thoughts.
some would say Drake May against Miami. This could be the game where he puts the stamp on the
That's
whatever
true.
you just said. I don't know. I actually kind of like James Cook's outlook. I think if they're up by a lot, which I kind of think they will be, I think they could run him a lot.
Mm.
I don't know. I mean, yeah, every defense is looking to bounce back. Doesn't mean they're gonna. I don't know.
Well, the Jets had a good defense last year, and I kind of trust that. I think
Right. Yeah,
it's
I
tough.
didn't know that. I'm a casual. Trey McBride's playing Carolina. I don't know. I like Drake's team a lot. He's number one in my power rankings. Okay, I can't pick against him.
You
I
gotta
just
pick
can't
him.
do it.
You gotta pick him. All right.
Don't
Well,
look at this if you're not in Belichuzz. All right, 1 minute and 45 seconds to go. We did it. I imagine the Belichuzz video will be a good bit shorter.
yeah,
But that is this. Thank you for watching. Thank you for sticking with us through the late adjustments.
yeah. We'll see y'all next time.
Next time in like 5 minutes, unless you're not watching that, and then we will see you next time.
All right.